There are certain terms which I heard Anglo-Indians use. I'm not sure that they would be used in the wider Indian community.
Boozard is a combination of boozer and drunkard. So, I mean, but that's just our word. That's nobody else's word except ours.
Bakakhani pork roast means you're a thack Anglo. Thack.
Anglo-Indianism to me is a culture. It's liking curry and rice, and at the same time you ballroom dancing and jiving and so on.
For example, Anglo-Indians refer to anyone else's children as my son and my girl. So everyone is your son, everyone is your girl.
And the other is ta, meaning thank you. And it somehow found itself into our vocabulary, because the only people I ever heard say that are Anglo-Indians. My mom and my dad, when I would go get them the converter or their slippers, they'd say ta.
I always said my posterior. I never used the other word. And that's why they used to get amused at me.
The word blessed, Anglo-Indians, when they hear other Anglo-Indians saying it, immediately know that what she means is, oh, this disgusting, irritating thing, this blessed thing. You say, oh, this blessed radio is not working, oh, this blessed TV is not working.
And then there's the Almirah. I think it's got from the Portuguese language, but Almirah is like a cupboard where we put all our clothes in there. So the Almirah was in every Anglo-Indian home.
Bra and bro, short for brother. Every mail of mine or SMS of mine, if the person is close, you don't use it loosely. It's used for the 10, 15, 20 real special friends of yours, bro, bra.
Some of the words that are exclusive to the Anglo-Indian community, I think, and which continue to be used today are the word kattus for knock on the head.
Slipper whack or slipper your tonsils, whichever one you prefer. That was in the old days when corporal punishment of youngsters was the norm.
Have you heard of the word jop? I gave him a jop, a smack.
Also, when someone was very angry, a young woman was very angry with someone who she felt had insulted her, she said, I would like to give her 2 raps, or 2 tight raps, she said. And I hadn't heard that before.
Well, we do have a lot of colloquial phrases such as, what a bugger man. It would generally mean, what a carefree or useless fellow. It could be meant in either in jest or in uncomplimentary terms. So it could go either way.
Bloody is very common.
Bloody fool.
It's bloody rot.
Bloody idiot.
Damn.
Anglo-Indians tend to use the phrase bloody bugger a lot, and that's one that I associate very closely with them.
Bugger, yeah, bugger. The bugger is generally used by the Anglo-Indian community. You bloody bugger.
The amazing thing about the Anglo-Indian community is the dialects or the accents. Many Anglo-Indians had a problem with th. You say de, dem, dis, dem, dos. Well, there are very few dis, dem, dos now. Yeah, we're all this, them, those now.
The word remember is sometimes not pronounced fully. It's a, remember? We did this. Remember? Remember we did that. So it's been like, said as member, not remember.
One word that I can think of is abli.
We say abli. Abli, this is what happened.
Abli is a short form for I believe, but the way it is used so fast. Abli, you said so. Abli, she's coming, man. So actually what they mean is I believe.
If somebody is like a stupid person, there's a word that's sometimes used called gok within the Anglo-Indian community. My grandmother used to use a similar term calling people head-turned if they were a little bit obtuse about things.
Talking about words, whenever the non-Anglo do something, we just say, porky fellow, porky.
Porky means low down fellow.
One of the things that very often I heard was that all 5 fingers are not the same. I'm not sure it's only an Anglo-Indian expression, but I heard it more often, of course.
Then you have his eyes are bigger than his stomach. I have not heard any other community using this phrase, basically meaning that you know, you put more on your plate than you can actually eat.
Do you think you played marbles with me? We normally use that word to indicate that someone is very young and he's probably being flippant with you, and you want to say that, look, I'm older than you, so give me some respect.
Our way of moving was an expression I heard very often, and at the beginning I didn't quite understand, and people didn't understand why I didn't understand. And they said, well, this is the way we move. They didn't mean moving in a physical way, but simply the way they do things, the way they behave, the way they talk, the way generally they carry on was our way of moving.
You know, after about 50 years, I heard this. A young fellow came to see me over here, and I said to him, "What are you doing out here?" He says, "Sir, I've come for a rantan." And I remember saying that, rantan. Now, what did rantan mean? Rantan meant I've just come just for a loaf. We used to say loaf, and that's it.
Many Anglo-Indians use words which are Hindi in origin, or Bangla in origin, or maybe Tamil in origin, like beta. My dad and mum, they call me son when they show that they love me, but when they are crazy about me, then they say beta.
Doll it was dal, but we called it doll. Dooli was actually doli, D-O-L-I, meaning box.
Kanni. Now, kanni is, I think, typically Anglo-Indian, because kanni, you know, when you fly the kites, you put a little kanni on it and it goes left to right, it spins around. And I think it's derived from the English word putting on side. So kanni is that, you know, meaning. So you're putting on side, you know, so you're putting on putani, you know, it's another word.
One of the words I use, I've never been able to get rid of it, is the word jargon, which in other people's dialogue is a tea towel.
A buchi, which is lice or a tiny insect perhaps.
Jungly. We refer to a jungly person as someone who doesn't have manners.
One of my favorite Anglo-Indian phrases is the use of the word tamasha. I don't just have fun, I don't just have an event, I don't have a happening, I have a tamasha.
Mora.
Mora, which is what you're sitting on now, Paul, and that's just a seat which is made out of cane here. That's basically what it's made out of.
Mora is another thing, a stool you sit on.
One of the words I remember when I was a youngster, the word is dal bat.
Baba. Baba. Baba means so many things. Baba means Chota Baba means Missy Baba. Missy Baba is a girl, the young girl of the house.
A Pak Dandi. A Pak Dandi is probably used more by Anglo-Indians in hill schools. It's a little rough part.
We would call the cook, the bawarchi, we would call him boy. I don't even know why he was called boy. He was older than us. But we'd say boy.
Vochikana, which is a kitchen.
And of course, Anglo-Indians, they don't ever cook in pots and pans. We cook in dekchis, and I can show you a couple of dekchis.
Sometimes you don't say pans, you say dekchi.
And we, of course, don't have plates always. We have barthans.
Masala. Every Anglo-Indian home is a masala. I mean, what are you talking about if you say spices and all? Masala.
Oof. It's a sort of means of exclamation, you know. Say, oof, man, you know. So you're really sort of annoyed or whatever, you know.
Arey baap re baap. Oh, baap re baap.
R-A, something like that. I'm not sure what that means, but it's to express frustration or, you know. So my parents occasionally will use them. They probably used them a lot more when I was younger, but I guess just being in this country, they've lost those idioms that were so common to them that, you know, that they just don't use it anymore.
The other one is acha. I know it's a Hindi word meaning okay, but you know, Anglo-Indians use it all the time in the dialogue. Say acha, you know, and of course you got to shake your head too, you know.
Acha, you know, sometimes, although I'm not 100% sure what that means.
And I've also taught my Japanese-Canadian grandson to use the word jaldi. So he repeats after me, jaldi karo, when we want to go out for a picnic.
The word do-do. Okay, so when you're asking your baby, you want doo-doo, darling? So the doo-doo actually is milk.
When the ayah used to put the child to sleep in the afternoon, she used to tell the child, Nini Baba.
Of course, then there's the dooli.
Dooli was a meat safe.
You know, where we used to put all our milk and any food stuff that we didn't have refrigerators back in India. We'd put little cups of water so the ants couldn't climb up the dooli and get into the food.
It's called the meat safe when there was no fridges. I remember meat safe was a very important word in our life, that always we would go and open the meat safe to actually get our food out from there.
If I wanted to use the toilet, sometimes I used to run up and say, oh, please excuse me, I must spend a penny.
I do have, but it is of the thunderbox. I don't know if you know what the thunderbox meant. It comes from the British times when we didn't have the flush system.
In the army, sometimes I use them when I was ill or something like that. And when the doctor said something, I said, don't ask me, my waterworks are okay.
And have you seen that damn fine tart? Where a pretty girl used to be described as a damn fine tart. And now I cringe at the thought of a poor girl being labelled.
Men. We've got to use the word men. It's like, I don't know how many people have told you that, but men ends everything and starts everything. No men.
A lot of them, when they originally came from India, they sort of put the word men at the end of sentences, you know, like, what are you talking, men, or something, you know, as a sort of general term.
And of course the word, I say men. Do you know the phrase, I say men?
The use of the word men, as in, what you're talking men, or you're talking rubbish men, that sort of thing, is associated very strictly with the Anglo-Indian community.
Or the other phrase was a Charlie Billy Pom Pom. That was someone who's obviously, you know, trying to wear Western clothes, not very successfully, and what we call the pork pie hat, we used to refer to them as Charlie Billy Pom Pom.
Most Anglo-Indians today speak a much better version and brand of Indian languages. In the 1940s, 50s, 60s, who did you interact with? The people who worked in your home and a few others. So you spoke a very broken, kaisa hai, jaldi aao, and instructions, a few words, you know, and that was your Hindi or Bengali.
Yes, tikai. We used to say tikai. And everybody knew by our pronunciation that was terrible. But tikai, yes, tikai. And the older generation of Anglo-Indian ladies, especially the ladies, they had their own brand of Hindi, which, oh gosh, it was terrible, but it was funny at the same time.
The one I used to laugh at, to see these very attractive women on a rickshaw going off to their jobs in the GEC or big offices, and then to hear them pronouncing the left and right, which they used to say dhaya baya, but the way they used to say it was very comical.
Hindi. I know that when I was serving in the World War, the boys used to say, "Ye mein saab kahan se aaya? Ye aisa iska baat Gurkha ka baat sunta." And then some, "Ye Dehradun ka baat bolta." So I didn't know. I said, "ये हम ये सब पढ़ा है आगरा में," because I didn't know a word of Hindi when I joined as a nurse.
मेरा नाम इलेन है और मैं हैदराबाद से Don't laugh.